Hey everyone, welcome back to Masonzero MTG. Today we're looking at the cards from Commander Legends and how they can fit into Cube. We're doing a super video today that features my top picks for a normal cube and my top picks for a pauper cube, since I have both and enjoy both a lot. Now obviously, this set is a little bit different than most because it's Commander focused. While some Commander-centric cards do find their way into Cube, it's usually modern and legacy powerhouses that really shine in our format. That being said, there are some cool inclusions for awesome 1v1 gameplay. Unfortunately though, a lot of the partner commanders are no good on their own, and the Encore mechanic is generally overcosted for if you only have one opponent. Needless to say, any commander cubes or free-for-all cubes are going to love many of the cards in this set, and you probably won't need me to tell you which ones will fit the best in your cube. Anyway, here are my top 5 for a regular cube. Krark the Thumbless is kind of hilarious and kind of awesome. It gives you a 50-50 chance of copying your instant and sorcery spells, but does so in only 2 mana. Regardless of the fact that not all of your spells will be copied, getting to potentially copy spells starting on turn 3 is a good rate compared to other copying effects. Any cards that have a spell copying ability start at 4 mana and come with a price, such as Chandra the Firebrand, where the permanent costs 4 mana but you also have to spend 2 loyalty, and it only applies to 1 spell. And many other permanents with a copying ability only apply to the first instant or sorcery you cast each turn. While Krark won't always trigger, you can at least get started copying much earlier and have the chance on each individual spell. Archon of Coronation is a Monarch card, but it might actually be pretty good. When it enters the battlefield, you become the Monarch, and as long as you're the Monarch, you can't lose life from damage. This means that you've essentially drawn 1 card and cast 1 fog, at worst. Your opponent will have to attack you in order to get to the Monarch themselves, and that damage will be prevented. The creature itself is a 5/5 flying for 6, so even if you lose the Monarchy, you have a decent chance of getting it back. This isn't quite card draw in white, but it will at least replace itself. And having the Monarchy out in a 1v1 game can cause some fun combat dynamics that encourage aggression and evasion. It can force players to go to combat to try to break board stalls, or risk giving the other player too much value. This would be an interesting inclusion for cubes that tend to just dawdle around and play powerful things, but can take a long time to win. Kodama of the East Tree is an interesting card that can provide a lot of value, but can also just be something that dies right away. On the surface, it looks like a way to drop free cards when you cast something, inevitably the turn after you play the Kodama, assuming it's still on the battlefield. But it works with more than you may think at first glance. Drop a land, and you get to play a second one if you have it in your hand. Play a card that creates tokens, put a land into play. And of course, when you put a permanent into play any other way, such as by simply playing it, you get to play something for free. It's an interesting 6-drop for a green permanent space deck, and a cool choice for a cube that wants an alternative way to ramp from the middle of the game to the late game and play some big threats. Zara Renegade Recruiter has a unique effect and one that is likely to be quite powerful in Cube. Whenever it attacks, you get to look at your opponent's hand and put a creature into play from it, tapped and attacking. At 5 mana, it's a little steep. By turn 6, when you get to attack with this, it might be too late to have an impact. But it's important to keep in mind that anything with an enter the battlefield effect will be an amazing hit off of this card. And on top of that, a sacrifice deck can make use of that creature, making this kind of a beefed up discard spell if you play it right. Either way, getting your opponent's cards is always fun, especially if that card is Grizzlebrand. Hull Breacher might be a fun card for a lower powered cube, or for those of us looking for a cheaper version of something like Consecrated Sphinx. Now this won't draw you cards, but it will prevent your opponent from drawing extra cards and allow you to ramp a bit in blue, which is not the easiest thing most of the time. Having flash means you can do it once for sure without your opponent knowing what's coming. This can be a huge blowout if used at the right time, and kill some big card draw spells. Naturally, it was hard to narrow this list down to just 5 cards, so I'll throw up some of the other cards on the screen that I thought could be good considerations for Cube. Along with a regular cube, pauper cubes also get a lot of new toys. I'm actually almost more excited about pauper cube than regular cube for this set. there are several new cards and a whole lot of downshifts. Since this is a commander set, but also a draft set, the commons need to include some large endgame threats and some powerful effects. So there were a lot of downshifts from uncommon that are welcome inclusions to the Pauper format and to Pauper Cube. Let's go through some of my favorites that will be easy inclusions in my cube and many others. The most talked about new card for regular Pauper is Fiery Cannonade, because it's the only card that can deal 2 damage to everything. The non-pirate clause doesn't really matter. This is a big thing not only for the format as a whole, but also for Cube. Most of the best common creatures are small, and they'll be killed by this, and board wipes simply do not exist at common. This is a must-include card in your cube. Fall from Favor is the first time that a card below 4 mana can make you the Monarch. It does require a creature to target, but that shouldn't be too hard. This is a decent semi-removal spell, but being able to get the Monarch is just fantastic. If you're currently running Claustrophobia or a similar effect, you might as well run this new card instead because it's just better. Annoyed Altasaur is a great top-end card for the green section in your cube. It has decent stats, it has Trample, Reach just for fun, and of course it has Cascade, which guarantees at least some additional value even if this 7 mana dinosaur gets removed instantly. This makes it better than a lot of costly green cards, and wouldn't it be great if you just cascaded into Colossal Dreadmaw? Fleshbag Marauder adds a rare effect to Pauper, or rather an uncommon effect. This is the second uncommon in recent history to bring this effect to Pauper, the last being Slum Reaper. But Fleshbag Marauder being 3 mana instead of the 4 mana of Slum Reaper is a big deal that makes this an awesome inclusion for a sacrifice deck or even just as an interesting creature-based black removal spell. This is a card that gets included in regular cubes a lot, so keep your eye out for it in Pauper as well. Flood of Recollection is another reprint that has been downshifted to common and can make an impact in Pauper Cube. It can return an instant or sorcery spell to your hand from your graveyard. This is the cheapest this effect gets at common and is a potential replacement for something like Archaeomancer. Of course it depends on how you want blue in your cube to look. If you want an excuse to have effects on creatures, such as with a blink deck, then keep the original. If you'd rather increase your concentration of spells for a blue-red spells strategy, then add in Flood of Recollection instead. It's just nice to have the options. Now of course there are a lot of other cards that I think can make a splash in this format, so I'll throw them up on the screen right now. Alright everyone, that was a lot of cards. Thanks so much for watching. If you disagree with any of my points and my decisions, then please let me know in the comments, and let me know what cards you like from this new Commander-centric set. I'm sure many of us have many different opinions, as all of our cubes are unique in their own special way. Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you did enjoy it though. I appreciate all of your comments and likes, and I have a lot of fun making these videos. See you all in the next video.